Welcome back. Let's go have some fun. Hey everyone, so today we're going to be doing my 50th Craft Roulette project card, and I'm going to show you how I made it. So I thought I'd do a process video. The project is Thinking of You. The colors are Fairy Tale. The element is Here or Ears. Here's or ears. Random is a stamped background. So we're going to start with our background, and I'm working with my Fairy Tale colors here. So I've got a piece of Bristol smooth paper, and I'll have everything linked down below. And I am going to do some ink blending with some GinaK inks and some Catherine Puller ink, because I just love this cotton candy pink. And my Bristol smooth paper here is 6 inches by 4.5 inches. So that's how I cut them down, because they come in a larger size. And I'm just going to take my colors here and just kind of randomly place them down. And notice I'm tapping off over to the side because I don't want any harsh edges. And I want the color blend to be really soft, like an iridescent princess dress, I guess. My goal here is to make a background that sort of appears like a soap bubble. We'll see where we get here with it. So again, I'm just kind of randomly putting the colors down and just sort of tapping off my brush, cleaning it, making sure there's no harsh inks on it before I lay it down, because I do want my colors nice and soft. And let's go in with some powder blue here. And I will put a little bit of green too, just because when you look at iridescent things, sometimes you see green. So there's that. And now we've got our nice soft iridescent background, and now we're going to follow the parameter of a stamp background. And I have here I call it my magic marble stamp. It's a Simon Hurley background stamp called water marble, and I use it a lot. Especially I use it with my gel press. So I've put a Wow embossing ink on here. I'm doing 2 coats. I'm just covering the whole thing with the Wow embossing ink. And the process that I'm going to do next isn't new. I know you've seen it a bunch of times, but I thought it worked out well for this particular application. So I've got my Perfect Pearls in Iris Turquoise and Perfect Pearl, and I'm just going to grab my little brush here and keep my fluffy brush off to the side, and I'm just going to tap color on all over. And I do have this sped up because I don't want to keep you all day. So, 15 minutes tops, unless I warned you ahead of time. And then I'm going to come in primarily with the regular pearl color. But I wanted to get those iridescent kind of color combinations in there. And then I'm just going to take my bigger brush and just kind of brush these perfect pearls in. And there, doesn't that look just like a soap bubble? Just beautiful. And so, yeah, I thought that was a great idea. Initially, when I started doing this last night, I did it with some gold Delicata ink, and then I thought, well, let me try heat embossing. I'm like, no, I don't want to heat up my card. I know. Let's try the perfect pearl trick. And it worked out perfectly. And the reason I wanted to make this video, not only in celebration of my, and by the way, I've got water there, so if you just do a couple of fine mists of water on here, that'll set the perfect pearls. They have an agent in them that will set with water. The reason that I did a video for this is, first of all, in celebration of my 50th card for Craft Roulette, and secondly, it's nearly impossible to photograph this and make it look right. The camera just hates perfect pearls, at least in my experience. So I've cut a piece out that's 4.5 by 3.25, and then I'm going to take the remaining piece and I'm going to cut out all these little circles. So they're going to be my bubbles. So I've got those cut out, and now we need to shade them. So you can see the pearl color, for whatever reason, likes to show up sort of brownish black in the camera, which makes me crazy because I know it doesn't look like that when I see it with my eyes. Now, I didn't even put any extra ink on my brush. I'm just using the same brushes, and I'm going around about a third, doesn't have to be perfect, with each of the colors to kind of give that bubble a little bit of depth and dimension. And then we're going to go in with a silver pen as well to get our kind of our highlights. And the reason I use a silver pen is that I haven't found a white pen that will work on like a pigment or perfect pearls or something like that. They just don't want to work. So now you can see, you can kind of delineate the difference between the bubble and our background. And we still qualify for a stamped background in fairy colors, right? Because that's what we did. So I'm going to show you how I do this with my silver pen, and you really have to fight with the silver pen sometimes too. It just, see, it comes out really nicely on that, but then when I try and put it on here, it's not, I'm not going. It's not happening. So I'm just drawing little shapes, and they're just random. What it is it inside of a soap bubble, basically, you know, there are reflections of everything around it at 360 degrees. So nothing really makes sense inside of a soap bubble. I mean, it can if it's a big enough bubble, but your average bubble, you just see lights and shadows. So I chose silver for this, and you can see that I'm just kind of randomly going around and making lines. The main thing is to make sure that all of your lines or shapes are kind of matching up with the shape of the bubble. So they would be, you know, I can't say the word. I don't know the word. They wouldn't be straight lines. Let me put it that way. They're going to be curved like the edge that you're working with. Okay, there. I think I got that spit out. So again, just kind of randomly making lines, and a lot of this I have this sped up, and you can see that I'm just making shapes. I'm not trying to be precise or anything else like that. Just making shapes, giving it that extra light. So there I've got a bubble, and I'm going to do the other bubbles, and I have a couple of extras that you'll see I put on at the end because I've got balance issues. They're my issues, all mine, and I need to have things in balance, so that's all. That's all. I think that's going to go right about there. So here I've got my Simon Hurley Easter Bunny stamps. And you see I have already had that stamp out, and he's laying against an egg and on some grass. Well, all those things are going to disappear because I'm going to fussy cut them right out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp with the GinaK, I think I end up stamping with the, the Stormy Sky. I don't want it totally black. I want my bunny to be kind of a dirty white bunny. Because, yeah, I'll be adding gray to it. See in there is just an old stamp, and I'm going to be just using a very light gray and a very light pink alcohol marker, Ohuhu markers for this, and a colorless blender. I'm just kind of going around the lines, and I actually prefer the bullet nibs to the brush sometimes, and I did stamp this out on hammer mill paper because I knew I was going to be using alcohol ink, and I'm not having any issues with the GinaK inks, you know, trying to move this stuff around. It's not smearing or anything, so I'm happy about that. And here I'm just kind of blending those grays out, blending out his nose. All right, now I'm going to lay down a matte layer, and I'm going to lay down my background layer, and I'll use some liquid glue for that. And my matte layer actually has a tiny sliver of blue behind it as well. And I've laid that down on some mirror cardstock that's already attached to a A2 card base top folding. Well, not top folding, but, you know, landscape. I'm going to glue down my bubbles, and I'm going to place them. So here was my idea. This rabbit's going to be kind of laying on the bubbles, thinking of you. So when I lay that, and I want to keep that within the boundaries of my background, but you'll see that I probably poked some out. I can't remember. It was a few minutes ago. That's how my memory works. I don't know about you. So I'm going to pop this bubble up. And I'm just cutting some of my little foam squares in half so I can fit them all, because Bunny's going to have his hind end on that and be leaning against the big bubble. So So I'm just kind of placing the bunny, seeing where I want him, and I'm going to find some lower profile foam squares to put on him because I don't want him so, you know, I want him kind of, I don't know, back behind but still popped up, if that makes sense. So I have these little low profile ones, and I'll get some on his ears. And again, I'll just take my scissors and cut some of those in half so they're smaller for me. And let's get support in those little crooks of his ears so that I don't, so he doesn't get smooshed in the mail. And yeah, I'm putting a lot on here. The hammer mill, it's 100 pound, but I still want to make sure that I've got a lot of good support for the rabbit. Sometimes I fight with these little backers and sometimes I don't. Usually not. These are Simon Says stamp ones and I really like them. They're probably my favorite of what I've tried. I did buy some low profile ones from scrapbook.com. I haven't popped them open yet because I still have these to work with. Come off of there, you little stinker. And decide where I want him, commit, and put him down. And then I'm going to just add the other bubbles. This one I'll glue flat down. And then I'll probably pop this smaller one up somewhere with one of the lower profile foam squares. Yeah, maybe there, a place for his elbow to rest. Nope, changed my mind. See, this is where I run into trouble with balance. And then I have pre-foiled a whole bunch of these Simon Hurley sentiments because I use them all the time, and I feel like, you know, they're not so scripty that they would go better with something like this than something classy like flowers or something, because they're not really super scripty, but, you know, they're bold and cute. Like our little bunny. He looks like he's got himself a little attitude there. I'm going to use some liquid glue with that, and I'm going to grab my T-ruler here and see if I can get this on here straight. Most likely even with the ruler, because that little descending part of that Y kind of gets, you know, in the way of getting it straight. But I'm happy with that. And here I have finished the card, and I've added some more bubbles and some baubles, and we're ready to go. We've got Thinking of You. We've got ears on the rabbit. We've got our stamp background. And we have our fairy tale colors. Thanks so much for coming and checking out my video. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And make sure and visit CraftRoulette. Take care. Bye-bye.